But
how was the rest of your week, Dan? What'd you do?
worked every day.
Wow. Is that what most people do?
Yeah. But like, most people work 8-hour days. I work 10,
yeah.
11.
No, well, most people don't work every single day. Yeah. But they hired new people though. Dan runs a coffee shop. For those of you who are just joining us.
Yeah. But
right. The funny being, no one is watching this now, and no one ever has, and no one.
Yeah. I'm also president of the universe. But we hired this guy. I'm gonna call him Chad. Because that's his name.
I knew you were going. That's
and
great.
He's just not very smart. But apparently he's worked there before. So I talked to my friend Jason.
Why didn't it work out the first time?
Because he was fucking
Because he's
retarded.
an idiot. Yeah, right. So okay,
no offense to anybody that actually is retarded, because he diminishes you all. Anyway, I called Jason and told him about it. And he goes, "You need to fire him right now."
Wow.
He said he was that bad.
Jason Freeman, who will be on the show a little bit later on. Go ahead.
A bit as in, but it doesn't matter because I'm going out of
Yeah.
town in a week, so there has to be somebody there. So I think when I get back, there's just going to be a crater.
Yeah. It's really hot in here. You know what we didn't do? We didn't turn on the air conditioning. I know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about FISA. That's what I want to talk about. Can we talk about that? The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Can we talk about that? So. This thing, in the late 70s, they come up with this FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, that allows for surveillance wiretapping of foreign nationals to protect the United States. So in the wake of 9/11 and the Patriot Act, George Bush amends it to say, this sort of give people carte blanche. You can set up a wiretap and then 24 hours later get a retroactive court order saying that it's okay.
Did he actually amend the act, or did he simply more broadly interpret it than it had been before?
I thought it was interpreted and then amended.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking, so I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Doesn't the Patriot Act supersede that?
That's what I think. That's right. That's what I think happened. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe someone can.
Which is
email us.
permanent now. You know that too.
Yeah.
They did that almost unanimously. Only two dissenting votes. Right. Way to go, Democrats. Thanks.
Yeah, totally. And so now we have this presidential election, and in full disclosure, I've been volunteering or working for Barack Obama for the last year. But he comes out and votes in favor of the new FISA Act, which one of the major issues in FISA. I don't know. Am I boring everybody?
No.
One of the major issues is that
It's just Dan and I.
the telecommunications companies, AT&T, Verizon, they cannot be punished, will not be punished, if they give up information that they have from one of their users. So I call somebody in Tehran and say, hey, let's get a nuclear weapon and bring it, blah, blah, blah. AT&T, who's my provider, can give up that information and give up a lot of information about me. And so a lot of people have problems with it on the left because it's an invasion of privacy and all sorts of stuff.
Well, isn't the reason they put that provision in because they'd already done it?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's like to protect them from
ex
litigation.
post facto, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they've already done and have been doing that for years.
Yeah. Illegally. And even and technically, even if it is a provision now, doing it before is still illegal.
Right.
But there's also another provision in it that I think protects them retroactively,
right,
which is horseshit.
Exactly.
Because they broke the law,
right,
and invaded my constitutional rights and your constitutional rights.
Right, but not mine because I'm not a citizen.
Yeah, except for you.
Yeah. But
they'll send you a bottle of syrup.
That actually hurt. So now Barack Obama votes for it, some saying this is a move to the center or the right. I think this is him being, look, I actually don't know whether this is him being just a politician or whether this is him actually saying, look, we got to compromise, we got to bring people together, and so I'm going to give in on this to get that. What do you think, Josh?
I am disappointed with the move, mostly because it comes around the same time as his speech at the NAACP convention calling for greater responsibility for black men as fathers and black families, which I understand. Oops, someone's calling me. Could it be a Talkin with call?
No, but take
Absolutely
it.
not.
Take it. Come on, take it.
No.
Who is it, Josh?
It's probably my mom calling me.
Are you sure?
I think, yeah.
Are you just bullshitting?
No, it's my home address. It's actually my mom calling me.
I thought it was a woman, West Hollywood, so I thought, let's get this out in the open.
It's my mom.
Yeah, but your mom's not a woman, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
For our purposes, your mother's
all
not
woman,
a woman.
believe me.
But my problem is to it feels like a calculated move.
Sure.
Given
sure.
the context and the juxtaposition with also calling for, to call for more individual responsibility from black fathers who are, maybe there is some truth to the fact that there's an absentee father syndrome in the black community, but certainly not carte blanche across the whole community. It's not a constant. And then to forgive every major corporation who broke the law and violated everybody's privacy rights
Right.
simultaneously, and so those are two contradictory things in terms of asking for responsibility, and they both move him to the center and to the right. So it
Yeah,
feels
I get it.
calculated when you put those two. To me,
Yeah.
it feels like
No,
a
I
calculated
understand.
move.
I don't know that you can. I don't know that you. I get that. I don't know that you can compare. I don't think that because he said that you have to have a bar of responsibility and wanting responsibility from everybody across the board. Look, the truth is, he's a politician, and people. I know people because I've worked with them. They get this messianic complex about him that they project on him, and he's the second coming, and he's one of us, and blah blah blah, which is the great thing about the campaign, that's what they made people feel like. But he's a politician. Is that a message that somebody else?
That's
You're a
my
popular
mom.
fella.
No, it's just my phone telling me I missed my mom's call.
That's kind of sad.
There's a little guilt function.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
Why didn't you answer your mother's call?
No, I agree with that. I do think that there's a danger of looking at him as a savior. But I mean,
But
didn't he grow up? Didn't he grow up without? His father wasn't around.
His father left when he was 3. Met him again, I think, when he was 14.
I mean, that's a reasonable thing. I mean,
call?
granted, yeah. I mean, not necessarily to like call out an entire community of people, but
right. But you can't say it in a vacuum. That's the thing. That particular, especially with the last, starting with the welfare thing, the welfare reform that Reagan initiated, which was all about the stereotyping of the black community. You can't just say that in a vacuum because there are already pre-existing ideas about that particular community and like the types of responsibilities that people shirk.
Right.
But isn't that kind of like the moneyed kind of motivation for doing things like that is to like stereotype each kind of community, black fathers aren't there to raise their kids, like Mexicans are lazy, like you know what I mean, like Arabs are terrorists, and like poor white people are hillbillies and rednecks, like to kind of like divide all of the disenfranchised of the country into these little micro groups so they never organize and go, well, look, I have a lot more in common, as a poor person with like somebody in, Compton or East LA than I do with anybody, no matter how much they kind of match the way I look and my social like background.
Right.
That has a lot of money. Like those are the people that are, coming down on the large, the lower middle class.
I do think that happens, and I also think that realistically, there is a disappointment in the fact that he is a politician and he has to be a politician. Yeah. I feel that way about JFK and.
You just rang again.
No, it's another reminder. I didn't hit the button the last time.
Oh, okay.
But I feel the same way about JFK and RFK. For me personally, when you actually look at what they were doing in their administration, it's a disappointment. I'm actually disappointed in the type of president he was and the type of attorney general RFK was, which isn't to say that he wasn't doing. The two of them weren't doing really groundbreaking things in a time of like incredible change, but it still is heartbreaking to know the truth of what goes on behind those closed doors, what you sacrifice, whose back you stab in order to get things done.
But that's the nature of the game. And I think one of the things that they all do is they all set the bar up there. They all sort of reach for they're hitting for the bleachers, and then they hit a 2-run double, and it's like it's okay. Like
but I think the important thing to realize, especially about this election, is that whomever is elected, McCain or Obama, or like I don't know who else is running, Charlemagne.
We got Nader, we got Ron Paul.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Did Nader throw his hat in?
Nader's in, yeah.
I voted for Nader in 2000.
Fucking asshole.
I was in
All of a
Iowa.
sudden,
Gore
emails
won.
come
What do you want me to
flying
do? But anyway,